The ticking sound accelerated, sharp and rhythmic, like a hammer against a hollow chest. May sprinted, her lungs burning with every intake of thin, metallic air. Beneath her boots, the ground split into jagged obsidian shards that skittered into the abyss. She lunged over a widening fissure, her heels catching the edge of a floating platform before she scrambled to find purchase. Above, the sky groaned. Thousands of clocks hung in the void, their glass faces shattering simultaneously. Shards rained down like needles, pinging against the obsidian floor. With a relentless, discordant chime, she ducked, shielding her face as a heavy brass gear slammed into the ground inches from her hand. The landscape was folding in on itself, a geometry of broken time. She paused for a heartbeat, chest heaving, and looked up. From the dark gaps between the gears, countless unblinking eyes tracked her every movement. They did not blink. They did not look away. They simply waited. She pushed off the ground, legs driving hard, and vaulted over a collapsing bridge. The rhythm of the ticking grew louder, syncing with the frantic pulse in her throat. May skidded to a halt. The ground beneath her boots stopped trembling, replaced by a silence so heavy it felt like pressure against her eardrums. 10 paces ahead, a figure stood frozen. It was herself. The duplicate stared back with eyes that held no light, then let out a soundless scream. Her form began to fray at the edges, skin and bone turning into fine gray dust that drifted into the void. May lunged forward, fingers outstretched to catch the fading shape, but she grabbed only empty, freezing air. A low, grinding friction vibrated through the floorboards of reality. The Guardian stepped from the shadows, his presence like a shifting gear. "Every version of you that vanishes takes a piece of your soul with it," he rasped. May stumbled back, clutching her head as a sharp, piercing ache flared. She reached for the name of her school, but the thought hit a wall of static. She tried to picture the front door of her home, but the image dissolved into flickering gray noise. Her own voice, when she tried to speak, sounded thin, alien, and distant. She gasped, "Who am I?" The world blurred, the silence shattered. High above, the thousands of unblinking eyes embedded in the clock faces began to pulse in perfect, terrifying unison. They detached from the brass frames with a wet, tearing sound. As they drifted into the void, translucent wings sprouted from their sides, vibrating at a frequency that made the air hum. They swarmed. A cloud of locusts, thousands strong, descended toward her in a singular, hungry mass. May turned and sprinted. She did not look back, but the sound of the swarm was a roar of grinding glass and beating membranes. She hit a gap in the floor, a jagged chasm where the air shimmered with ghosts of her own past. She leaped, her boots skidded on the far edge, sending a cascade of debris into the darkness below. She scrambled up, breath coming in ragged, shallow gasps. The swarm followed, a wave of motion that turned the sky into a shifting, organic shadow. She vaulted over another fissure, watching as memories float like dying embers in the abyss. The swarm tightened its formation, the clicking of their wings drowning out the rhythmic ticking of the realm. She was running out of ground. The horizon was folding. May skidded to a halt at the edge of a crumbling platform. A flicker of light pulsed in the dark, a soft, golden sphere suspended in the void. She reached out, her fingers brushing the surface. A sudden, sharp image flooded her mind. A sun-drenched kitchen, the smell of baking bread, and a voice calling her name. She grabbed the orb, pulling the warmth into her chest. She whispered, "Mama." The light shattered. The cost was immediate. A second version of May materialized, her form translucent and fraying at the seams. The duplicate reached out, her hand passing through May's shoulder. "Take my place," the duplicate whispered, her voice a hollow echo. The floor beneath them buckled, dropping into a bottomless, silent void. The duplicate dissolved into gray mist, and the ground vanished. A cold electric pulse slammed into May, traveling from her spine to her fingertips. Her vision sharpened. The world around her rendered in precise, ticking gears. Her eyes ignited with a pale, clockwork light. She tried to cry out, but the sound was resonant, metallic. The guardian stepped into the dim light, his shadow stretching long over the obsidian shards. "You are losing yourself, May," he rasped. "You are becoming one of us." May lifted her hand. The skin was gone. In its place, a lattice of brass gears rotated with rhythmic, clicking precision. She flexed her fingers, and the movement produced the sound of sliding metal. She looked up. The sky had peeled away, revealing a massive, circular clock face spanning the horizon. The name May was etched into the brass, glowing with a dull, dying light. As the second hand swept past the letters, they began to flake away like burnt paper. Each letter curled, turned to gray ash, and drifted into the void. She reached out to stop it, but her arm dissolved into a cloud of fine, metallic dust. The ticking grew louder, filling the space until it was the only sound left in the universe. The last letter of her name fell, leaving the brass surface smooth and empty. The gears in her palm stopped turning. The light in her eyes dimmed to a flicker, then vanished. She was no longer a person. She was a mechanism.